all the white people going on Xiaohongshu, and they're like, oh my God, China, they have everything. Their food is cheap. They have good schools, blah, 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 blah. Why don't we have that? Racism.
Hi lovelies, welcome back to this channel. If you're new here, my name is Belinda Strana. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Don't forget to please subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications so that anytime I upload videos, you will be the first person to be notified. To my returning subscribers, to those people that share my videos, leave commentaries, also go as far as educating each and every one of us. You guys are the real MVP. So lovely. So I came across these videos on my For You page on TikTok, and I thought to share with you guys where black people are finally out with response. As we all know, with all of the crying in paradise by pan-colored people, especially pan-colored women, I'm just going to roll the clip as well as some of other stitches I was able to put together. Please leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video.
And they're like, oh my God, China, they have everything. Their food is cheap. They have good schools, blah, 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 blah. Why don't we have that? Racism. It's because of racism, babe. Yeah. And post-Reconstruction era South, after those traitors lost the Civil War, the South was devastated. This is just an example. The South was devastated, like in every way you could think of. The Northern troops had burned their farmland. They had blown up railroad tracks so you couldn't transport anything. They liberated all the enslaved people. They had burned their houses to the ground, okay? The South was... it was so bad. Northern newspapers were sending down photographers to take photos, to take photographs, and they were going back up north, and the editors and photographers were selling little books to other Northerners, like poverty corn. That's how bad the South was after the Reconstruction era, after the Civil War, or the Reconstruction era. Do you know what white Southerners' primary concern was? Not housing and feeding and clothing their families, not trying to rebuild their economy. No. It was making sure they inflicted massive physical, mental, and economic terror on formerly enslaved people in the South. That was their modus. That was their modus operandi. That was very important to them. More important than rebuilding their economy was harassing black people. And that's just an example of the centuries white people have spent cutting off their own toes just so we don't have anything. But the gag is, now you don't have anything either. We don't have anything, but neither do you. And that's why we don't have nice things. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
So I just saw a post where a young white woman is upset and crying because she's understanding how easy they have it in China, and she doesn't understand why as Americans we have to work so hard just to have so little.
Racism would be the answer. So this all goes back to what they call drained pool politics. Once integration became the law of the land with cases like Brown v. Board, a lot of white people moved to get rid of public services and goods like swimming pools. And that meant they had fewer resources. They had fewer third places. And it was fine back in the day because they would just pay. They would pay to go to country clubs, which is why there's a proliferation of country clubs in this country right now. But they put all those kinds of things that used to be public services behind a paywall because then they could just say, well, you can't pay, or this is a private club. It doesn't matter if you can pay. We're not going to allow you in. It's our choice. It's not a public service. It's not a government run thing. Just so black people wouldn't have access. But over time, the cost of these services rose higher and higher until most white people cannot afford them. But it's not just that. I mean, this idea goes all the way back to things like Social Security. Do you know white people refused to vote it through back during the New Deal until two groups of people were not eligible? Domestic labor, so that would be like maids, and agriculture workers who didn't own the land. So in other words, if you were a sharecropper, like most black people in the South, or a maid, like the women, you couldn't get Social Security. Once they put those provisions in, all of a sudden, they could have it all day long. White people in this country have always been obsessed with the idea of black people not having things. And that's why they're in the mess that they're in. It's kind of nice to be able to say what I want on here. The reason why countries, the Scandinavian ones, Denmark and Sweden and whatnot, have such great policies is in part because those countries are homogenous, or mostly so. And they're not trying to investigate who's benefiting from the free child care and the universal health care and all that. They are moving on. We could have a great standard of living in this country, but white people are so obsessed, so angry at the idea other people who are not white are going to have that same great standard of living. They would rather live in squalor. It's why the Affordable Health Care Act got gutted. The utter terror that people who don't look like you are going to be able to live decently. What you pay for. I mean, politicians have tried to convince white voters for years. This is in their interest. It was in their interest to not have to pay for these goods and services. And now you fell for it. They convinced you it was communist or socialist to have a decent standard of living, to have the taxes that you pay go to something other than endless war, to actually go towards the maintenance of the nation and making our lives better. But, I hope you enjoy it. Rather than letting everybody have a turn with the ball, you've decided to pop the ball and you're complaining, there's no ball, there's no ball. Indeed, there's not. And if we got a ball tomorrow and you saw the black people and others playing with it, you'd probably pop it again. So there's a direct correlation. It's not that black problems are just starting to suddenly leak over and affect white people. It's that the intentional negative economic and social policies white people put in place to oppress black people have now rebounded on them. Everything people complain about nowadays. How come there are no more third spaces? How come we don't have anywhere to go but work and school? How come we can't afford property? How come this and how come that? All of those have a direct correlation to post-integration policies and choices. Why is college so expensive? Racism. Black people started going and they raised the tuition out of all scope. It used to be practically free to go to school. How come I can't find a decent job? Racism. The minute black people integrated those unions for the factories that have been operating in this nation for decades, and black people could only be non-unionized workers or just unskilled labor, the minute we finally broke into the unions, that is when they began migrating out of cities like Detroit, first into the South for white cities, and then eventually overseas. You thought you were winning. And the hollowing out of Chicago and Detroit and etc. don't just affect black people. The reverberations of that crisis have affected the entire Midwest, and look at the condition of the Rust Belt today. The hole you dig for somebody else will be the one you fall in. That's literally biblical. If people had focused on trying to get the whole standard of living for the country up, even if they had just focused on their own ends, but not tried to punish anyone else, this whole country would be in a better position today. And now look, I hope this serves as a valuable lesson to you. It probably won't. Because that's why the last election went the way it went. They are still trying to convince you somebody else is to blame for the problems that are self-engineered. And they try to convince you that by punishing someone else, the mysterious boogeyman stole your cheese. And if you beat him up, if you cut his wages, if you deport him, you'll get your cheese back. It's not true. This learning curve is getting steeper and steeper, though. I am genuinely interested to see what happens on Rednote next. I think this will be the first time a lot of Americans have unfettered, unpropagandized access to so many citizens from a nation we've been taught is bad. That inherently they're doing things wrong and that they're oppressed and we need to help them and save them. This will be the first time a lot of Americans have that much direct contact. And the puzzle pieces are starting to click into place. This might be the making of something. We will see. That's it. Like and follow for more. As long as you can. I hope it's longer than we think.
I have watched my third video of YT people crying on this internet because they own Rednote and they've learned how expensive it is to be a racist corporation nation. That is what the U.S. is. And all these people keep saying, one girl just said she got $450,000 worth of student loan debt to become a lawyer. And it costs like $800 to go to law school a year in China. A year, y'all. So let me give y'all a little bit of a history lesson for my YT people who are just awakening to the world that black people have told y'all has existed since they so-called let us go, right? We have told you racism is expensive. It's so expensive because you guys used to have free college. Racism brought about college being the cost that it is. We could never get to free universal health care because black people would receive it. Racism is expensive. You guys got rid of all of the free parks and pools and programs once the Civil Rights Act was passed. This was America's downfall, the Civil Rights Act. being civil was y'all downfall. And y'all crying on the internet for what? We told you. You had to go to China. Your citizens, your fellow citizens, because you never paid attention and you never really saw us as fellow citizens. So you had to get somebody in China to tell you, this is crazy. This is ridiculous. This is unacceptable. You shouldn't accept it. You shouldn't tolerate it. No, you needed someone else to tell you. How does it feel to know your country bet on racism over everything else? Technology advancement. China looks like a futuristic movie, but it ain't a futuristic movie. It's reality. And we are in an oligarchy, right? Oligarch. And, well, not we. Because I find it so funny. A lot of these videos, all of these creators get on here talking about some we. They all speak French now. Because black people have been known this. And every time I see one of those videos, I'm commenting, black people told you this for centuries, that this was wrong, that being able to just completely control people, ignore their rights as citizens was dangerous territory. And because it wasn't happening to you, or you thought it wasn't happening to you, because I don't know, y'all ain't never been on a plane to another country to prove that America isn't the greatest nation on earth. It's just not, you know. It's the most controlled, it's the most manipulative, it's the most marketable. I will say we're like, the US is number one at marketing, which is lying, you know, in their case, because they're not offering anything. How are you the greatest nation? You greatest at locking people up? Greatest at debt? Greatest at uneducated of your majority population? Because black women are the most educated here. Police brutality? What are y'all great at? Oh, giving money to government, military. That's what we great at. And I don't even know how great we're going to be at that. Look who they trying to get in charge of it. That ain't going to last. I say this to say, if you're watching this video at this point, do the work. Because we're not going to. We did it already. But I'm glad y'all learning that y'all already are slaves and been slaves. Now you're just slaves that know you're slaves. It reminds me of a movie called The Girl with All the Gifts. If anybody's read that book or watched the movie, the book was better. The Girl with All the Gifts really displays how it was a concept of the girl is a zombie, but she doesn't know it. It's a really good book. I recommend the book 10 out of 10 over the movie. But it's a really interesting concept because it's like this awakening people are having on Rednote. It's like that movie. Y'all didn't know you were already a slave. You were already powerless. They practiced on us. You didn't know it, but we did. So it's kind of like somebody standing next to you and being like, y'all, we zombies. Y'all, we're not really alive. Y'all, they actually holding us hostage. Because in the book, she thinks her teacher, like, she doesn't understand why her teacher is afraid of her. She doesn't understand it because she had no self-concept, self-awareness. That's what it is. Y'all lack self-awareness, situational awareness, because y'all like stories. You like to be told who you are. You don't like to demonstrate that, right? That's why we see all this MAGA DEI stuff, and not in a qualified way, but non-qualified way. This is what we're dealing with, y'all. And until y'all do the things y'all saw us do and demand more, good luck. Because we beat like hardcore slavery. So we just don't expect what y'all expect. And y'all get over there shocked. We know it's better, because we see y'all get better. Well, we did. I don't know about it no more. But we used to see y'all get better. So we always knew, there was always more, And as someone who likes to travel, I've been blessed. I've been to Dubai. That doesn't look real either. Like, you go to Dubai, just go to Dubai's airport And you like the US is number one at what? I really don't understand, and I maybe because I haven't done my research in terms of population, it's really just our military, and that's going to catch up eventually. I'm really shocked at this point China is behind us, because I'm trying to understand how technologically they're far advanced, they're far ahead of us. But good luck with that $450,000 worth of debt, girl. That's crazy. Maybe y'all should protest, advocate, get some rights, demand something of the people who actually supposed to be representing you. Maybe y'all should. Or maybe y'all can get everything Trump promised y'all. What you think?
The video of that lady crying because she heard that in other countries people can't afford a home, people are not paying 20% of their income on groceries, people are working less than 40 hours a week and still being able to have money for hobbies and things like that. We told you guys that. This is not a new phenomenon. You guys, the majority of people voted against having an actual livable life because they didn't want certain people to have access to it. You guys didn't want universal health care. You guys didn't want universal Medicare for everyone because certain people would be able to have access to it. And oh God, I would rather them live harder than they need to and me have to pay out, because you thought that you would always be the breadwinners of the states. But now they're coming for their crumbs from you too. And now you're sitting here crying, and it's not like, I get it because you weren't the person who made that decision, but your legacy, the person who left you this legacy, didn't care about how you would suffer from these consequences, from these decisions. They only cared about themselves. When they talk about generational wealth, they thought they was passing down a gold bar. It's a gold nugget, and it's probably not even gold now. It's probably gold plated, 10 karat. Like, I find it hard to empathize with certain people because no one cared to listen the entire time. The brainwashing and the propaganda that has been let out is astonishing. I am not going to Meta nothing, because the fact that they're even trying to now do reverse psychology, we're getting rid of this to protect your data, bro. Every time there's a data breach, all you guys do is give us 99 cents and then 3 months access to the place that had the data breach. You're not closing these banks down. The only people who lose a business is a small business owner. Let a bank go bankrupt 14 times, all of a sudden we're the biggest socialist in the world and we have money to give them to make sure that we can uplift them back. But you're a small business, you're a woman-owned business, you're a black-owned business, you're this, you're that, you're a struggling college student, right? You don't need nothing. You need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You need to work 2 and 3 jobs. You need to develop an autoimmune disease. You need to have migraines and headaches. You need to have a reason for that acid reflux to be there, because you can't afford vegetables, because God forbid, if you do get one, it has listeria in it. The fact that people have been telling you for years that this is a brainwashing and we're all in a cult drinking the Kool-Aid, and no one failed to believe it because black women are always yelling and black women are always aggressive. That's what y'all wanted. But we was telling y'all from the beginning. You think they got rid of their slaves? No.
The amount of white people, since we've all gone to Rednote and have made Chinese friends, the amount of white people who are coming back to this app and saying that we're being scammed and, oh my goodness, that we shouldn't be living like this in America. Oh my God. You had to get on a Chinese app to learn that life isn't meant to be hard, and the way that we live life in these United States is difficult as hell, because that's by design. These are all manufactured problems. Y'all had to get on an app made by the Chinese to learn that. But when black people were trying to tell y'all this,
I saw a post on the Rednote app that said, "I'm American, ask me anything." So they started asking us about our healthcare system, having insurance, how much money we have to pay for medical bills and whatever. And after long conversation of going back and forth with the Chinese people on the app, we explained to them that sometimes having high medical debt coupled with other debts can lead people to being homeless. And they did not understand why. And so we had to explain to them how things affect your credit and what collections companies are. Tell me why they didn't understand what a collections company was, first off. Like, I guess that's not a thing in China. But when one of the Chinese guys who was like responding to our comments was asking about collections companies, the only words that he could understand it as in China, when we had to translate his comments from Chinese or Mandarin to English, he was calling collection companies robbers and gangsters. That's the only thing that he could think to just, oh my God. Tell me if we're in the bad place. Tell me right now. I need to know.
Seriously, lovelies, my For You page has actually been flooded with all of the pink color people coming out crying. Oh my goodness, we have been deceived. Oh my goodness, I have wasted so many of my years. Like, as if you guys don't know the reason. As if you people don't know that you forgot to focus your attention on the betterment of yourself and every other person involved in the said society, but you decided to focus more of your attention on oppression. You focus more of your energy in oppressing people, in being racist towards people, in being like, instead of you to actually, focus more of your attention for the betterment of every other person, including yourself. This election actually showed that this has actually been the thing. A lot of pan-colored people are not concerned about the, rises of goods and services. They are not concerned about the healthcare system. They're not concerned about the, house rent and all of that. All they are concerned about is someone that will be there who is probably going to maintain the supremacy. They allow Ray and Cis and all of that to blindfold them without trying to, look for other means to survive. That is the reason why anytime you ask some of them who probably voted for what they voted, they're like, oh, we don't care about the prices of grocery prices. All we care about is that we don't want the undocumented migrant. We don't want like something that is, oh my goodness. And now a lot of them has actually migrated to this Rednote. Now they are saying that they have been living in misery. They have been living in a lie. They allow these top politicians to use them as a tool to actually shift the attention to what was supposed to be more important compared to this Ray and Cis and minority and superiority and all of that to take hold of them. This is why a lot of them are just so shocked. They decided to leave the reality in place, like the reality in front of them. Try to look for a way to fix it. Try to look for a way forward in order for like some of them actually choose for every other person, to live in misery than doing the right thing. Because I say this because as this one stitch that I put up here, a lot of this particular pan-colored woman was like, okay, I don't care if the grocery prices are high or whatsoever. What I know is that I want a pan-colored person on the top. Like, you don't even care about anything. You don't care about your personal need. You don't care about any of your health and all of that. All you care about is to maintain a particular stereotype of, oh, we rule. Oh, the pan-colored people were supposed to be ruling. Like, in this period of time, I think it's high time all of this, oh, Ray and Cis, blah, blah, blah. People should focus more on the way at which this government treat them. And I know that a lot of them are beginning to come out now to cry out loud because things are beginning to affect them one way or the other. Let's just assume that things actually went so well and the, Orange Man was just doing things to benefit them. Do you think a lot of them will actually come out right now on the social platform to blab about how, oh my god, we've been deceived? No, they are coming out all because they saw that at the end of the day, things are really going to affect them drastically. Why is it that they are complaining now? Why is it that they were not complaining when it was all about people that looks like me being oppressed and all of that? Because they don't care. Now it's affecting everyone. Now they are coming out to cry. Now it's as if the world wants to end. Now it's as if, oh my god, we've been lied to. No, they knew all about this. They won't tell me that they have not been using their social platform to make some research to see how other countries live. They won't tell me that. All of these things are just pretense and lie, pretending as if they don't know what is happening. They knew exactly what is happening, but it's just that they like the way at which the society is run, so as to benefit them and not benefit other people. This is just the problem. They just don't want to have that equal treatment with people that look like me. They want a different kind of treatment. They want to be treated so special and treat other people, But now that they are seeing that even with that special thing, that the thing that they have, they are still going to be affected. That's why a lot of them are all over the social platforms crying and, oh my god, we don't know. No, you knew exactly what you were doing. You knew exactly that the system was not actually benefiting some people, but because it does benefit you for one way or the other, that was why you refused not to speak out. But now that you're saying that, oh, this is actually going to affect us, what have we done? I think we made a mistake. That is why a lot of you are just out here crying. This is just the logic. They are crying right now, calling out for help, and watch it, nothing is going to be done. All these things are just formality's sake. If they are serious, if they are really serious, I think they know exactly what to do. They are in the position to do something. They are in the position to change the narrative. Black people have done a lot. They have done a lot, and they have tried to tell you guys, have tried to explain things to you guys, but you guys do not want to listen because all of those things does not really affect you. And now that it's affecting you, all you guys want to cry crocodile. Like, all of my For You page is all about, oh my god, crying, Rednote, oh, they didn't tell us anything about Chinese. You've not been seeing the social platform? You've not even taken your time to, my goodness. Anyway, lovelies, why not just leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video. And please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We're just here for educational and informative purposes. So guys, if you've not subscribed to this channel, do your girl a huge favor to click on the subscription button, and I will see you lovelies when I upload the next one.